Part of the reasons why Democrats are so fucking slow at doing anything is because no one cares about politics. If most of the population actually cared about politics, we would have checks by now. Yeah and no. What tax form do I use to exempt my tax dollars from bombing Syrian children? Yeah, that's not happening. Anyway. I think everyone should be getting $2K a month. UBI sounds pandemic, but that's just my opinion. I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that. It would be very beneficial. There are numerous studies at this point conducted on the many benefits of UBI. It's not. It just completely depends on what the funding vehicle for UBI is. But overall, I think it's a good thing as long as it doesn't replace. As long as it's not used as a replacement for social safety nets. I've talked about this a million times over since Yang Gang started coming out in the marketplace of ideas. So anyway, so that's he's comfortable and knows there will be tweaks on the margin. Psaki said at the White House briefing on Wednesday what his firm viewpoint is. Here,
as promised,
let's watch
another
this.
round of stimulus checks is on its way.
$1,400 checks to people who need it.
You heard the man. $1,400 checks are going.
By the way, this kind of eliminates the fucking Biden rhetoric surrounding this thing. For the record, the Biden rhetoric or the Democratic rhetoric was like, this is finishing off the $2,000 payment that we promised you. Okay, well then, some of the people only are getting $600 and they're not getting $2,000. So what's up? So I guess it was never everybody gets $2,000 checks now, except for the 12 million people that might not get it. Sorry, you only are gonna have to sit there and count your fucking Trump bucks that you got.
Out to individuals and $2,800 to both happily and unhappily married couples. And if you have kids, you'll receive an additional $1,400 per child. But because Congress still has a few details to work out, these checks probably won't go out until mid-March. Maybe. What's the holdup? Lawmakers are still deciding who qualifies. As of now, the cutoff for individuals is $75,000 and $150,000 for couples. Like the last few times, if you earn more than these numbers, you'll get a partial payment. But there's a cap on that. Stimulus checks are based on what your latest tax returns say. If you haven't filed yet, and let's say you earned more in 2019 than you did in 2020, the IRS will update your balance once you file. So the sooner the better, folks. Most economists agree that the best way to fix this economic crisis is to throw money at it. But how much stimulus is enough, and will it even work?
I think right now the debate is really over how should we view these packages. Is it economic stimulus or economic relief?
This is Kyle Pomerleau. He studies the economy.
There's a distinction between economic relief, sending additional resources to households so they can cover bills, and economic stimulus, which is sending payments to households so they spend the extra money and that kickstarts the economy and gets it back to where it should be.
So, if we're measuring efficacy by how well these bills have been able to relieve hard-hit Americans, we're doing fairly well.
It's hard to overstate the degree to which the checks for the low end.
That's Jeff Stein, boys. He's good. He's good, folks. He's a good journalist.
Of this income spectrum in this country really amounts to a degree of security.
This is White House economics reporter Jeff Stein. His internet isn't great.
The $2,000 payments that are being contemplated, the 14 plus the 6, would amount to approximately 30% increase in annual income for the poorest 20% of this country, according to research from ITEP.
In terms of how it's helped the economy, it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
This is Heather Long. She's an economics reporter at The Post.
People who earn under $50,000 have tended to spend them. These are people who don't have a lot of savings and they needed that money right away for groceries, for rent, for their car. And the flip side, people who earn $75,000 or up, these people have overwhelmingly tended to save the money.
If people are saving, they're not spending, which means they're not boosting the economy. And if they're not boosting the economy, how are we supposed to climb out of this economic crisis?
So Democrats like to look at these bills and say we need to do both relief to small businesses and the...
No, they do have proof of that. I mean, they do. They're saying the entire purpose of the stimulus is for you to spend it. And a lot of people that have made over $75,000 don't fucking spend it. Except remember, here is the fucking thing. You can punish people who don't do it. That's one. And after the fact, but that's going to be politically a politically disappointing move that you could take. And two, the other thing I was going to say is, like, there's a reason someone in Alabama that's making over $75,000 is not spending it, but someone in fucking New York definitely is. So that's the fucking other part of this problem. We always have this conversation about, like, well, what about raising the minimum wage? Like, we can't raise the minimum wage for those in fucking Alabama. Oh, I don't understand. Like, those working poor should suck a dick, right? But, you know, it's great to do it in New York. We understand it. But you never have that conversation when it comes to motherfuckers living in urban areas, okay, that absolutely are spending the extra money that they're getting. The key point here is that it isn't safe to spend it by shopping, travel. No, it doesn't matter, because the reality is the people making less than $75,000 are so fucking poor all around the country that like they're living paycheck to paycheck in such a degree that, like, it doesn't matter. They're gonna spend it on groceries anyway. Like, they're buying shit that is a necessity for them. They cannot save. So giving them money usually is very helpful to the economy. Just like increasing the minimum wage for people like that is very helpful to the economy, because all of a sudden you have more disposable income. Then you can go and actually take some time out and maybe enjoy a meal with your friends at the fucking local small business. You understand?
Unemployed and a little bit of extra money.
We are not going to dilute this so it doesn't help the American people get out of this crisis quickly.
Republicans look at it a little bit more like we do have a debt to consider and that we shouldn't go overboard.
We do not need to let the Speaker of the House do socialism for rich people in order to help those who need help.
Because of the coronavirus pandemic, this recession is fundamentally different from any recession we've seen before. We're kind of in the Wild West of recovery.
There is hope that once the vaccines are widely distributed, say by the summer or the fall, that the economy can rebound much faster. This recession has hit the bottom wage workers. So we're talking about people who earn about $40,000 or less a year, far worse than anything we have seen before. Yes, low wage workers and people of color often get hurt more in recessions, but this is just leagues worse than anything we have seen even in the Great Recession. And we need to keep that in mind when we're thinking about who needs relief and who is still struggling.
I love it when people are I love it when, again, you know, the deficit is only a problem, not when it's... Oh, we got another flight coming out in an hour and 46 minutes, I guess. T-minus 1 hour and 46 minutes. Again, the debt... our deficit is only significant when it's not giving tax cuts to the mega wealthy. It's only significant when it's giving tax cuts to, like, middle-class Americans or those who are just doing well enough to get by. You know, voters, a big chunk of the voter base. It's great. I don't know who isn't struggling right now like I do know the obvious answer. No, people making over $200,000 a year in the United States of America have done, at least according to whatever the fuck everything that I've seen so far. They're doing overall decently well. It depends entirely on what their job is. It depends on what sector they're in. But for the most part, a lot of people that are in jobs that require them to make that allow them to make around like $200,000 or more, they're doing well overall. That's why we talk about a K-shaped recovery. You get what I'm saying? Like the K-shaped recovery, rather than the V-shaped recovery that Trump was espousing and talking about, means that people who were working minimum wage jobs in the service sector, people that didn't actually make a lot of money to begin with, didn't have any savings on top of that because the budget shortfall is built into their existence, those people are not doing well at all. They are doing really, really just worse off than they ever were. Whereas people who had at least a little bit of savings are doing fine. especially because their jobs require them to. More often than not, their jobs don't require them to be in person, so they can work out of the office. They are saving a lot of money now, more than before, because there aren't as many expenses. You're working from fucking home for the most part. You're doing all right. That is the reality. There are a lot of people who are doing better than they were before during this pandemic. But there are an even larger amount of people in this country that are doing worse off overall, and that is minimum wage workers, retailers, workers that work in fucking workers that work in like distribution facilities, shit like that. There are a lot of people who did not see the pay raises that they absolutely deserved and only got fucking thought of in news articles about how important they were because we banged some fucking pans and shit. What are the people who made too much in 2019 but are now unemployed due to the pandemic? No stimulus. We paid the tax for it. If you're now unemployed, I suggest you immediately file your 2020 taxes. Okay, immediately, because that way you will get.
Hassan, when are you running for public office? Hassan for control.
That way you can get you can qualify for this.
Been a while since I last watched Mr. Chat.
$0 in hazard pay as an essential employee, but I think you're gonna at least have like vaccine eligibility ahead of everyone else. So that's one good thing, I guess. I think that's like the second vaccine rollout is now targeting grocery store clerks and shit like that. Hassan running for office would be a bad idea, let's be honest. Yeah, I laugh at people who say you should run for office. Amazon and Walmart have raked in billions in additional profits during the pandemic and shared almost none of it with their workers. Exactly. This is a big problem with the way that wages work in the country and also in the global capitalist marketplace. Your wages are not adjusted to the profits the company makes more often than not. Even if you have like stock options or whatever, which Amazon no longer offers because they now increase the pay of all workers to $15 an hour. But even outside of like tying it to some stock options or whatever, what they should do is scale your pay with the additional profits that the company generates regardless. But it doesn't work that way. You are literally generating more money for the company. You are creating more value for the company with the same amount of labor that you're engaging in, but your labor is not your worth is not tied to the amount of money that you're creating for the company in a positive way, and only tied to it in a negative way. I.e., if the company is suffering and profits are diminishing and you're going through a downturn, then you might get fired or you might have to even take a pay cut. But never literally a pay raise unless your bosses who are authoritarian inherently. That's just how it is, because a company is not a democracy. A company is literally run like a authoritarian government. Decide to give you, out of the kindness of their heart, more money, and it never happens. AMC6 got millions in bonuses with 40 million laid off. Yeah. The fact that Democrats don't defend college students, or the fact that Democrats don't want to create more college students with policies like free college tuition is mind-boggling to me. If Republicans had a built-in recruitment system like the colleges, they would literally be nonstop fucking working it. Okay, they hold on to the evangelical base like they just clamp onto the evangelical base and do whatever the fuck that psychopathic base asks them. But Democrats can't even fucking do that for college. Like, they literally can't do that for college. It is literally built in, a built-in base of support for you. They do, it's the military? No, not exactly. If Amazon's so bad, why were you at Bolsonaro for burning it? Okay, shut up. Speaking the quiet part out loud that colleges are Democrat recruitment centers? Yeah, liberal recruitment centers. That doesn't mean they're leftist recruitment centers. Yeah, you get a college education, you are going to be in a diverse environment, and you are going to be around so many other people with unique opinions and whatnot. You are probably going to become more tolerant. You are probably going to become a Democratic voter. Yes.
Six-month Induma chat, Pog?
We can't vote Republican and Democrats suck. What do we do? Well, there's kind of nothing you can do at this point. Yeah, and if you're more likely to critically think, then you're probably going to not fucking vote for psychopaths in the Republican
Almost
Party.
half a year of
And instead, you're going to vote for the
radicalization
relatively kinder psychopaths in the Democratic Party instead.
I can't do this anymore. The midterms are going to be a bloodbath.
Tim's only say free college for Harvard so they can get more people to join the CIA.
Hassle.
Anyway. You hear about Dr. Seuss being canceled? Yeah, I talked about it extensively yesterday. I do not wish to talk about it again. So we talked about the limitation of the eligibility. I don't know why. Let's get into the Governor Cuomo stuff.
Hassle.
Third woman comes out with harassment allegations against Governor Cuomo. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Story. The latest on New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Overnight, a new accuser stepped forward, claiming the governor made an unwanted advance at a wedding reception. She's now the third woman to make claims against the governor.
This as an independent investigation by the state attorney general's office is now underway. Stephanie Ramos is in Albany, New York,
7
with
months
the
of Jeff
very
Bezos'
latest.
money.
Good morning, Stephanie.
Robin, good morning. We haven't heard from Governor Cuomo in almost a week. He's released a number of statements defending himself against those allegations from two former aides. And now this latest accuser says he left her feeling confused, embarrassed, and shocked. This morning, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo facing new calls for resignation after a third woman has come forward with accusations of sexual harassment. Anna Rook telling the New York Times the governor tried to kiss her at a New York City wedding reception in 2019, and then sharing this photograph she says was captured on her cell phone that night by a friend. Rook saying that when Governor Cuomo put his hand on her bare lower back, she, quote, promptly removed his hand with my hand. According to the paper, the governor remarked that she seemed aggressive and placed his hands on her cheeks.
Bro, I've never seen a photo that so perfectly captures, like, actual fucking harassment, by the way. Like, it's literally, it just, you got caught in fucking 4K, my guy. Like, there is... Like, it doesn't get any worse than this as far as, like, being caught doing something inappropriate, okay? Like, usually in a video, you can figure it out a little bit better, but, like, it is kind of remarkable that you were able to catch something with a photograph like this. So...
He asked if he could kiss her. Rook telling the Times, I turned my head away and didn't have words in that moment. While Rook met Cuomo for the first time at that wedding, her allegations come after two former aides, Lindsey Boylan and Charlotte Bennett, accused the governor of sexual harassment at work. Bennett tweeting her support for Rook, posting, I hear you, I see you, I'm sorry. His inappropriate and aggressive behavior cannot be justified or normalized. Bennett telling her story to the New York Times over the weekend, alleging that last spring, Cuomo made it clear to her he wanted to sleep with her.
which she alleges that the governor asked her direct questions about her sex life, whether or not she was monogamous in her relationships, whether or not she had ever slept with an older man.
The governor denying Bennett's allegations, releasing a statement Sunday saying that his words have been misinterpreted as an unwanted flirtation and that he was trying to be playful and funny. Bennett saying Cuomo has refused to acknowledge or take responsibility for his predatory behavior. New York Attorney General Letitia James will now oversee an independent investigation with subpoena power into the sexual harassment allegations from the former aides.
Congresswoman Kathleen Rice is now calling on the governor to step down. She is the highest ranking Democrat to do so.
Well, hey there.
Okay, so here's what's going on. So Cuomo is deeply, like, I mean, he's coming from a political lineage in New York. He's fucking dog shit in every way. He's dog shit. I believe all of the fucking witnesses, not because like hashtag believe women unconditionally, but it seems like it fits the fucking profile. I am profiling Andrew Cuomo a little bit here as an older dude from a different era who thinks that this unacceptable behavior is acceptable to a degree. And it's not acceptable. Clearly, obviously. I wonder what the liberals are going to... I wonder how, like, the Heart Cuomo liberals are going to react to this because they, like, you know, wanted him to... Can you fucking stop mansplaining, bro? What? Okay, I'll stop. All right, we're moving on from this story. Stupid. His brother commented, "No, I don't think he will. I think the only thing he said is like we're looking into the accusations. I obviously can't cover it because of my personal relationship with my, you know, blood relationship with Andrew. But CNN will continue covering it or something like that diligently. They're gonna pull another Franken. I think this is I don't know if this is. I don't know all of the accusations that came out with the Franken shit, but I know that the original accusation with the Franken situation wasn't as serious as someone like literally working under them. I know people are going to get mad at me for this, but the original Franken accusation came from a Republican commentator who was upset that a photo was circulating the internet where Al Franken was like simulating that he was groping this person and recreating a scene that they run on stage while she was asleep on the fucking helicopter over a Kevlar vest. And the Franken thing was done at a time to push back against the Franken thing was done at a time to push back against the Roy Moore accusations that were significantly worse and also way more fucking credible. There was like legal consequences associated with Roy Moore at the time. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas, like, in this situation, Cuomo is harassing individuals that are directly under him in a completely inappropriate way. Yeah, me still trying to figure out what Frankenstein Islam was talking about. What? Cover vaccine, good news. Okay, we're going to do that. Hold on. Could you explain how chat is spamming Italian hands and Italian names is different when cringe lords use come on bro or try hard for a black person? Because the internet has decided Italians weren't oppressed. I'm genuinely curious. I'm the butt of every joke online because my last name is from Italy. No one is cringe enough to say gross shit about my ethnicity or me IRL, and it feels bad, man. Not gonna lie, flame me, I guess. That's not copy pasta. That person is serious. I think they've like written to me in the past as well. I'm not going to address that. It's ridiculous. And also you saying it's pasta, thinking, implying that it's a copy pasta, but also a double entendre for them being Italian is literally Italiophobia. Anyway. So, let's continue. So this is a how do I describe it? This came out on its own. Like it's not coming out as a counter to anything else. It came out on its own because Andrew Cuomo is under a lot of fire, understandably, for being hailed as a superhero amongst liberals. And so let's hear what his apology was really quickly, and we'll move from there.
I want to address the recent allegations that have been made against me. As you probably know, the Attorney General is doing an independent review, and I will fully cooperate with that review. Now, the lawyers say I shouldn't say anything when you have a pending review until that review is over. I understand that. I'm a lawyer too. But I want New Yorkers to hear from me directly on this. First, I fully support a woman's right to come forward. And I think it should be encouraged in every way. I now understand.
What is this motherfucker trying to run out the clock, dude? He said every. Like, he's trying to run out the clock so hard, he's pronouncing every fucking vowel.
Understand that I acted in a way that made people feel uncomfortable.
Every syllable.
It was unintentional, and I truly and deeply apologize for it. I feel awful about it, and frankly, I am embarrassed by it. And that's not easy to say, but that's the truth. But this is what I want you to know, and I want you to know this from me directly. I never touched anyone inappropriately. I never touched anyone inappropriately. I never knew at the time that I was making anyone feel uncomfortable. I never knew at the time I was making anyone feel uncomfortable.
Bro. No. It's not that he didn't. I mean, he didn't legitimately know, probably because he didn't fucking care. Okay, that's it. Like that's the reality. Okay, it's that he didn't fucking know because he didn't care enough, and he thought that this is like totally acceptable to do as a dude in a position of power who hasn't been told no in a very long fucking time. Do you understand? That's it. That's straight up the actual reason. He needed to be told no. Now, where's the spanking? What? A man who's never had to deal with accountability? Yeah, it pretty much. A lawyer knows the ignorance is not an excuse.
And I certainly never, ever meant to offend anyone or hurt anyone or cause anyone any pain. That is the last thing I would ever want to do. I ask the people of this state to wait for the facts from the Attorney General's report before forming an opinion.
I mean, here's the other thing, though. Like, you don't know what the fuck. Like, what is he supposed to say in this situation? Like, he's caught in fucking 4K. There's multiple accusers. It fits the profile of someone who is a repeat offender of like of harassment in the workplace, even sexual harassment for sure. He's from the old school where like they think that this was acceptable. You know, the Mad Men era. He's done significantly worse things. Not like minimizing sexual harassment in the workplace, but like he's a gigantic piece of shit in the political side of things beyond the sexual harassment in the workplace. So he's just biding his time until, you know, the investigation comes out. There will be a lot of political pressure on Letitia James to do the right thing over here, right? And we'll see what the investigations conclude. Ultimately, like, this isn't, he's not like fucking, there are people who think like, oh, this is he's raping someone or whatever. No, he didn't do that. As far as we know, he has not done that. But sexual harassment in the workplace is a genuine problem that overwhelmingly impacts women in a lot of situations, and it often gets unheard. So having stories like this come out about people in positions of power and some sort of punishment given to them will make it so that people know not to behave that way. That's it. Sorry if you're giving your thoughts. What do you think of Letitia James? I like her a lot. I've been saying this for a while. Doesn't your political stance on him affect the way you treat the situation, though? Seems kind of non-objective. You mean biased? My stance on Cuomo is that he should fucking resign and never do politics ever again. Overall, like it is. I was shitting on him when liberals would come into my chat and talk about how much they love him. I've been shitting on him for fucking years, but especially more so in the beginning of COVID when I was talking about how his austerity measures are the literal reason as to why his austerity measures are implemented in New York are the literal reason as to why like so many impoverished or underserved communities and their hospitals that rely on Medicare spending or Medicaid spending, were in the situation that they were in and were completely fucking understaffed and could not take care of the increase in could not take care of the people that demanded an increase in ICU capabilities. You've been shitting on him since the Cuomo sexual thing? Yeah, I've been shitting on him for a long time. In Kermit's voice, if women don't want to be harassed, they shouldn't just wear makeup, and wear makeup makes them more attractive. Yeah. Like, part of me does legitimately believe, despite the fact that I fucking do not like Andrew Cuomo at all, part of me does legitimately believe that he like doesn't recognize that what he did was wrong. Okay, that doesn't mean what he did wasn't wrong. It was still fucking wrong.
Hey, Ajahn, thank you for helping my brain.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I unironically, straight up believe that Cuomo does not think he did anything wrong up until this moment. And he's like, why are people getting mad at me? I don't fucking get it. Like, I'm just fucking, I'm just fucking being over the top and pushy and, making fucking jokes. I disagree. I think you can tell if someone's uncomfortable. Yeah, but if you're a fucking gigantic narcissistic piece of shit, you don't recognize it because you don't care for other people. And he is an asshole across the board. He's definitely an asshole to men, and he's definitely an asshole to women as well. And he just probably thought that he was being, classic. He's being funny. I'm being funny by saying, hey, when are you going to get fucking married? Oh, you want to play fucking strip poker? That sort of thing. Like, do you get what I'm saying? He fucking cut funding to Medicare and public hospitals during the height of the pandemic. Yeah, exactly. Elmhurst Hospital, literally 10 blocks away from me. Yep. Like, I forget how old this motherfucker is, but like, in Cuomo's era, he probably thinks he's fucking woke. You know what I mean? Like, he probably thinks he's fucking woke in comparison. Like, what do you mean? I'm not slapping asses over here, so what the fuck is the problem? Like, I don't understand. I mean, I used to get mad at the guys who slap fucking asses. I'm just, saying, all right, come on, sugar tits. Want to give me a little sucky or something like that. That's he's just lighthearted. Like, that's his fucking POV. You know what I mean?
Hey, what's up, dumbass? I thought I subbed way longer.
Anyway. Yeah, the classic, like, why don't you smile more, sweet tits, that sort of thing. Like, that's just like him thinking it's you know, classy, lighthearted humor. So, it's not something you should be able to get away with. It's not something you should do at all. And this doesn't mean that, like, oh my God, we are limiting interpersonal relationships between men and women. What the fuck? Liberals just want to live in a really weird world. Like, dude, you would never, okay? If you're a dude, you probably will not experience this. As a dude who does experience it, I will tell you, you don't want to fucking live in that world, okay? You don't. You just don't want to. You might think like, oh, any interaction with the opposite sex right now would be so fucking poggers from where you're standing. I promise you, it's not great. It's not good. You don't want to be fucking sexual. Here, evidenced by the fact that people are throwing Haas mods in the chat right now. Stop. I'm trying to have a normal and fucking serious conversation about this. You don't want to be sexualized all the fucking time. You want to be taken seriously. It's idiotic. It's horrible. Yes, it's not like you know, slapping someone's fucking ass or violating their bodily autonomy, but you're still robbing them of their personhood in a way and not taking them seriously, and that's completely inappropriate, especially in the workplace, especially when there's a coercive element there when you have a job over them. You get it? It is limiting those interpersonal relationships because as it stands right now, it's unfair and puts one party at risk. Limits and boundaries are a good thing here. Exactly. Remember how I talked about bottom of the barrel roleplay in the past? I'm going to use a roleplay terminology here, or like roleplay concept here for you to understand. So remember when I was talking about like the worst kind of roleplay that you can do is if every time you see a woman, you're like, booba, okay? Oh, you're a woman. Hey, want to have sex with me, woman? Let's have sexual intercourse, woman. Right? It's the worst kind of roleplay because, like, you are literally appealing to the bottom of the barrel. It's not even good at all, right? It's really fucking stupid. The other person is usually very uncomfortable, but even from a roleplay point of view, and not like misogyny or anything like that, not like fucking harassment or anything like that, you are limiting the other person's opportunities to be able to create a narrative with you, to create a story with you, by limiting them exclusively to a sexual object, an object of desire. And the same thing stands here. If your entire experience is well, not even your entire experience, but when you sexualize someone in the workplace that you work over, you are basically limiting your interactions with that person and their opportunities to objectification and whatever your own personal sexual desires are out of that person, even if you do not give a fuck about like fucking this person or not, because the other person will not know. There's also the coercive element is definitely there because there is the fear of retaliation that people who are being subject to your idiotic takes are worried that if they come out and say something or even mention that they're fucking uncomfortable, the boss may retaliate. Even if the boss doesn't retaliate, they might no longer like you as much. They might no longer want to think about you when the time comes for a promotional opportunity. So all of those fears come into play, and it makes it really, really awful. So basically, it's not good. It's not good across the board. It's not like the worst thing Andrew Cuomo could have done, obviously, far from it. But it's still unacceptable, especially in a position of power like this, right? And a lot of people do not understand the consequences of behaving this way. And part of the reason why people do not understand the consequences of behaving this way is because there's very little accountability, and there are people who immediately rush and jump to saying, "Oh, what are you doing? He's just fucking being a guy. He's being a guy."
Hi Hasan, I am big fan. I love
Get
your content.
the
I am so
facts,
in love, I use my
please,
wife's Amazon
before
Prime just so I
forming
don't
an
think the
opinion.
BF will mine my
And the
transgeo,
Attorney
says
General is doing
IBTW.
that review. I will fully cooperate with it,
Edek, how
and
this
then you will have the facts. And make a decision when you know the facts. I also want you to know that I have learned from what has been an incredibly difficult situation for me as well as other people. And I've learned an important lesson. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever pain I caused anyone. I never intended it. And I will be the better for this experience. Thank you.
Oh God, it's so loud every time. Being a redheaded female navigating in public cities usually comes with some kind of gross or unwarranted comment. Took me years to clap back. I didn't want to be labeled a bitch or people think I can take a joke. Takes a lot of personal programming. Oh, here's the other thing. If you're purely selfish, okay, if you're a guy, you only want to, and you're the kind of guy who only thinks with their fucking dick, and you have no respect for your fellow men or women, right? And you want to think about this from a purely selfish point of view, and I give this argument to gamers all the fucking time. If you behave that way around women, then they fucking put their shields up, okay? And they expect every conversation to go down in that same way. So it is yet another instance where misogyny or sexual harassment ends up hurting men in that way, where it's, of course, nowhere near as significant as the harm you're doing to other people. But having said that, it literally ends up fucking you over. It makes the complicated gray area that you need to navigate within interpersonal relationships and communicating with women way more difficult, because they constantly have their fucking shields up, because they're constantly fucking worried that you are going to be yet another fucking asshole. You see what I'm saying? You get it? Anyway, or they tell you to go fuck yourself and you want to hit them. What? You just expect it until it doesn't happen. Lol. Do you think that he came out with his press conference to distract the media from the nursing home deaths? No. I think this is coming as a additional pile on top of the nursing home deaths, which should require a separate investigation on top of everything else. Think about the women in your family, guys. Never be that douche guy. If you can't fucking care about the women in your family, then think about it again as like, let your social anxieties take place there for a second. Have a little bit of social fucking anxiety in that circumstance. Be afraid that everyone's gonna know you're a gigantic fucking creep, and it's not good. Casually building a winter home in Valheim Mountain Tundra, freezing in game, but Hasanabi's hot on point takes are keeping me warm. Anyway. Why is it okay for a woman to hit a man and the man can't hit back? Seems kind of sexist to me. It's situational. I don't think it's unconditional. I don't think it's always that way. That's a ridiculous fucking take. The toxic masculinity is just so prevalent and overwhelming. I'm a fucking dude. There's a combo in coding circles today with a bunch of shitty dudes and their thoughts on why women are biologically unable to compete in STEM fields. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, there's like performative, over the top, weirdo fucking male feminists too that uses as an opportunity to get laid and whatever. That's why I struggle with limiting the misogyny that I throw out on any given basis, but at least you know where my thoughts are. At least you know what my opinion is. And I'm being honest. Sometimes I say shit like, you're a pussy or you're a bitch or things like that. You know what I mean? I use words like that. But, so there is a little bit of underlying misogyny that I cannot fully eradicate, but you know that I'm not doing it to fucking get laid.
Who is your favorite music artist?
Literally, my own mother thinks that women are unable to compete in STEM fields biologically. Yeah, I know. Well, it's because patriarchy is very, very powerful. Your gender checks are problematic sometimes, but I do think the way you talk to men about gender and sexuality is cool and actually gets to them. Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, my position here is using my privilege for good. Okay, I have a lot of privilege. It's true, a profound amount, as a matter of fact, and I try to do good with it. But he never technically like raped or anything. It was all consensual, but it was abuse of power, catapulting me into the trap of swerk that simultaneously saved and killed me. What? No, he never. No. But that doesn't matter. You don't have to fucking rape someone to still be a douchebag and hurt people. That's. Did you just not hear? Did you have a stroke midway through that fucking take? I don't know what happened. Wait, is this? Oh, never mind. Okay. No. I shouldn't have even read that. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Hippity hoppity abolish private property.
That slap violence take was bad. Physical harm either way is not okay, dude. Wait, what? What take? I didn't even give a take. I just said it's situational. So does that mean that you fucking figured out a situation in your head where it's inappropriate? Is that what you're doing right now? And you're applying it to the. When I said that's not a clear-cut take as like you should never hit a woman back if they are fucking attacking you. Not having a 100% take on that across the board, like a universal position on that, doesn't mean that I'm applying it to a situation that you find to be inappropriate. I remember all the Aziz Ansari stuff made me hyperanalyze every date or interaction with a woman who was interested in me. It's good to reflect on, but can be anxiety-inducing for sure. Yeah, there is a side to this that at the time especially was not talked about at all, but definitely talked about in private circles. I'm sure that if you have any friends beyond like Discord chats and whatnot, you've probably had conversations amongst them with both your guy friends and your girlfriends as well about at the heat of like at the peak of the fucking Me Too stuff that was going on with the Aziz Ansari in the aftermath of the Aziz Ansari story about like
stop getting stunlocked.
What the future of this what the future of interpersonal relationships looks like. At the time I said either this is going to be the new normal or people are going to fucking dramatically scale back. That's usually what happens. Okay? Women have to overthink their interactions with men constantly to try to protect themselves? No, absolutely. And what I'm trying to say is that anxiety that you feel is not necessarily unhealthy because it makes you, once that moment is passed, because in that moment you're thinking, oh my fucking God, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. But once that moment is passed, you're like, I'm going to be more careful with my actions. Yo, what are you talking about right now? I missed the beginning of this online. We were talking about the Cuomo stuff. I'm just like a grandma to get catcalled or treated weird at work. Look, even in my personal relationships in real life, I became more aware and try to have like less infractions, okay, or overstep any sort of fucking boundaries. And from my experience, the other side absolutely appreciates it. They don't consider that to be like pussy shit if you're genuinely terrified of it. I mean, you got to figure out how to do it, obviously, but usually people like that you're being considerate, asking for consent in every capacity. You get what I'm saying? No one's gonna be like, ugh, I can't believe I wanted to suck your dick, but you just said, can I take your panties off? And honestly, now I've decided I'm not gonna have sex. Like, that's not a real circumstance. You made that up. Okay? You literally fucking made that up in your mind. Like, like, just reverse the roles for a second, okay? Just reverse the fucking roles for a moment. Girl of your dreams, you go out on a date, you're coming back home, okay? You're sitting on the couch, you guys are making out. She says,
hold on.
Can I put your dick in my mouth? If they say that, are you going to be like, oh, wow, this is terrible. Fuck, I can't believe you said that. You've ruined it, dude. You've ruined it. You fucking ruined it, dude. It's over. I will literally never, I will never get hard now. Fuck. It just doesn't happen.
Been enjoying your content and your community for 6 months now. Much love and thanks for the constant content.
Immersion ruined. Anyway. Let's keep going. Let's move on from this story.
Cuomo couldn't beat Super Seducer 3.
Yeah, you should say, oh, see, can I hold your hand? Okay, there's another sexual misconduct story against the North Carolina GOP lawmaker. Let's take a look at what's going on here.
Around the youngest member of Congress, an up-and-coming Republican with an increasingly high profile. Our Washington correspondent, Sunderland Serfati, is working the story for us. Sunderland, Congressman Madison Cawthorn, he's facing...
By the way, this is... Oh, God, I sound more and more like Don as every day fucking passes. It is genuinely alarming. It is a cause for concern. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It needs to stop.
Thanks for 4 months.
Okay? It needs to fucking stop. I don't know what the fuck is going on over here. I'm fucking sounding more and more like this motherfucker every day, you know? So Madison Cawthorn, for those of you who don't know, youngest congressperson, looks like the archetypical
Vulcan salute.
Fucking like Hitler's youth, a guy. Has like a really Weasley voice. And is very annoying, but ultimately, like, he just looks like the dude who, like, if you were typecasting someone as the fucking jock in like a college story or even in like a high school story, like, you would literally typecast him as an arrogant jock who like date rapes. Okay, not saying I don't know the details. I'm just saying that it fits the fucking bill really well. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess we'll find out. I really don't know what the actual. That's white racism. Yeah. Okay. It's again. That does not change the reality. I will look at the details seriously.
Some troubling allegations about his past. I know you've been looking into all of this. What are you learning?
That's right, Wolf. Madison Cawthorn, the freshman here in Congress, he's already captured national attention given that he is the youngest member of Congress. But tonight he is facing new allegations about his sexual conduct while in Congress, which was only 4 years ago, and also the narrative that he has so carefully crafted about his background.
If we don't start fighting for our country, then who will?
He is considered a rising star in the Republican Party. But Congressman Madison Cawthorn's past in the political
Hey, motherfucker looks like a young Tom Brady, okay? I mean, he is a very good-looking dude.
persona he has cultivated is littered with inaccuracies and dark allegations.
I welcome increased scrutiny because, I don't have anything to hide.
Cawthorn faced numerous allegations of sexual harassment while attending Patrick Henry College in Virginia just 4 years ago. Accusations Cawthorn has denied.
His MO was to take vulnerable women out on these rides with him in the car and to make advances.
Caitlin Coulter went to school with Cawthorn and says she was taken on what he called a fun drive. According to Coulter, Cawthorn asked her about her purity ring and her sexual experiences. Coulter says she felt something was off and shut down the conversation.
He got really upset and he whipped the car around and started going back to campus at 70, 80 miles an hour on these one-lane roads. And it was really scary.
CNN spoke to 2 other women who went to school with Cawthorn. Both of them also mentioned his invitations of the so-called fun drives and that turning him down would result in more unwanted attention. There was a lot of sexual innuendo, Lee Petrie told CNN.
Okay. This is not like I'm not being ableist. I'm asking. It doesn't even change the reality. Like you can be in a fucking wheelchair and still be a creep. But was this before or after the accident? Because I'm not understanding it. Like it doesn't change. It doesn't change the dynamic. It doesn't.
And then it got really uncomfortable walking to and from class. He would yell out, "Are you ready to take that fun drive today?" That pestering continued. That attention was not what I wanted. More than 150 people from the college signed onto a letter last year blasting what they said was Cawthorn's predatory behavior.
What do you mean he's driving in the story? What do you guys think that fucking people in wheelchairs can't drive? Like what? Dude, there is. The more we cover like people who are paralyzed or whatever, or like people who are disabled, the more I realize like most people just have no fucking understanding of how that works. You know what I mean? Like, like.
And urge voters in his district to reject his candidacy. In a statement provided to BuzzFeed during the campaign, Cawthorn said, "I have never done anything sexually inappropriate in my life." Meantime, fresh questions about his own account of the car accident that left him wheelchair-bound in 2014. In a 2017 speech, Cawthorn claimed that he was left for dead after he and a friend were in that 2014 car accident.
It's different when you actually know someone in a wheelchair. I don't, but like.
And his friend abandoned him at the scene.
He was my brother, my best friend. He leaves me in a car to die in a fiery tomb.
But CNN obtained the accident report, which shows that Cawthorn was not declared dead. His injuries were listed as incapacitating. Bradley Ledford, Cawthorn's friend and the driver of the car, telling the Washington Post that Cawthorn's accounting of the accident was not true. Cawthorn's own parents undercutting their son's story too, saying the driver of the car rescued him.
He wasn't scared, didn't run from the fire. He pulled Madison out of the car because he was
What the
unconscious.
fuck?
That accident.
Wait, what the fuck? His parents? No. Dude, what the fuck? Yo, the GOP knows how to pick him, bro. I swear to fucking God, dude.
Especially when you have a pattern of behavior.
They're so good. Yo, if you want to be a Republican politician, like you really got to do the fucking. You really got to do a deal with the devil, dude. Like when your own parents are fucking rolling you. Okay, no pun intended. I just like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Your own parents are fucking owning you about a story that is like left you in a wheelchair. Now, the other side of this that I am going to mention, the other side of this that